Every 4 years, the world comes together for the greatest sports spectacle on Earth. The Olympic Games. Billions of people tune in. Athletes dedicate their lives for a shot at glory. Cities spend billions to host it. But here's the question almost nobody asks. Who really makes the money from the Olympics? Because while athletes chase medals, corporations and organizations are chasing dollars. Today, we're breaking it down, the dream, the deals, and the dollars. Welcome to Empire by Vision, where we explore the business strategies that shape our world. And in this video, we'll reveal the business model of the Olympics, step by step. The idea, the story the Olympics tell us versus the reality. The action, how money actually flows in and out of the Olympic system. And the result, who wins, who loses, and what lessons we can take from this mega business. So grab your notepad, or just sit back, because this is the Olympic business model explained. Let's start with the idea behind the Olympics. On the surface, the Olympics look like a celebration of human achievement, peace, and global unity. That's the dream. The official story? The Olympic Games were revived in 1896 by Pierre de Coubertin, inspired by the ancient Greek games. His vision? Sports as a way to promote peace and friendship among nations. Noble, right? And for decades, that's exactly how the Olympics were sold to the public, a movement above politics, above money, purely about competition. The Olympic motto says it all: Citius, Altius, Fortius, or faster, higher, stronger. But here's the reality. Behind the scenes, the Olympics are one of the largest commercial operations in the world. The International Olympic Committee, or IOC, is a private organization based in Switzerland. It's technically a non-profit, but don't let that fool you. Its revenue model runs into billions. The Olympics are less about sportsmanship and more about broadcasting rights, sponsorships, and global branding. In fact, the IOC itself doesn't run the games. It acts more like a franchise owner. It awards hosting rights to cities, collects money from sponsors and broadcasters, and protects the Olympic brand like it's Coca-Cola or Apple. Now, to be fair, the Olympic dream is still real for athletes and fans. But when you peel back the layers, you'll see it's actually a business empire. Here's the clever part of the idea: the Olympics present themselves as a noble, almost sacred movement. That makes people and governments willing to spend money, huge money, for the honor of hosting, sponsoring, or broadcasting the games. And once you understand that, the actual money flow, makes perfect sense. So let's dive into where the dollars come from and where they go. Now we get to the action. How does the Olympic machine actually make money? There are 4 main revenue streams: broadcasting, sponsorships, ticket sales, and licensing. And then, of course, there are the costs, mainly borne by the host cities. Let's break each one down. The number one source of Olympic money is broadcasting rights. Think of NBC in the United States. They've held the US broadcasting rights since 1988, and they've paid billions for it. For the 2021 Tokyo Olympics, NBC paid over $7.75 billion for broadcasting rights up to 2032. Why? Because the Olympics draw insane global viewership. Billions of people tune in. Advertisers are willing to pay premium prices for airtime. For NBC, it's not just a sports event, it's an ad revenue goldmine. Same story with broadcasters in Europe, Asia, and beyond. In fact, broadcasting makes up nearly 73% of the IOC's total revenue. Without TV rights, the Olympics wouldn't survive financially. So when you see the torch being lit, remember, that flame is burning billions in broadcasting contracts. Second, sponsorships. The IOC created something called the Olympic Partner Program, known as TOP. This is one of the most exclusive sponsorship clubs in the world. Brands like Coca-Cola, Visa, Samsung, Toyota, and Omega pay hundreds of millions each to be associated with the Olympics. And here's a clever twist: these brands don't just pay for advertising. They pay for category exclusivity. Visa is the only payment card accepted at the Olympics. Coca-Cola gets exclusive pouring rights. Omega is the official timekeeper. This is marketing gold. And it costs gold too. From 2017 to 2021, the TOP sponsorship program generated more than $2 billion in revenue. And remember, that's just the IOC's cut. Local organizing committees get additional sponsorship deals with domestic brands. For example, in Tokyo 2020, local sponsors like Asahi, Canon, and Nippon Life Insurance also paid huge sums to be associated with the games. So while athletes are competing, brands are competing too, for your attention and loyalty. Third, ticket sales and tourism. Host cities usually make a big deal about ticket revenue. And yes, it can be substantial. Tokyo 2020 expected $800 million from ticket sales before COVID shut fans out. London 2012 made over $1 billion. But here's the catch: Compared to broadcasting and sponsorships, ticket sales are peanuts. Less than 10% of total Olympic revenue. Tourism is another selling point. Host cities hope the Games will boost their global profile, attract visitors, and spark economic growth. Sometimes this works. Barcelona 1992 is often cited as a success. The Games revitalized the city and made it a global tourist hotspot. But more often, the tourism bump is temporary. Once the fireworks end, visitors leave, and the debts remain. Which brings us to the biggest cost of all. Hosting the Olympics is like throwing the most expensive party in the world. Cities spend billions on stadiums, infrastructure, security, and ceremonies. The average cost of hosting the Summer Olympics since 1960 is over $12 billion. Some examples. Beijing 2008 reportedly cost $45 billion. Sochi 2014 Winter Olympics, $51 billion, the most expensive games in history. Tokyo 2020 cost over $15 billion, much of it wasted due to the pandemic. Now here's the painful part. Many of these facilities are barely used afterward. They become white elephants. Empty stadiums, abandoned villages, and debts that taxpayers carry for decades. A famous example, Athens 2004. Greece spent $11 billion hosting the Olympics. Afterward, stadiums sat empty, maintenance costs piled up, and the debt contributed to Greece's financial crisis. On the flip side, Los Angeles 1984 made a profit. How? They reused existing facilities, relied heavily on private funding, and secured huge sponsorships. That's the exception, not the rule. In short, the IOC makes money, broadcasters make money, sponsors make money. Host cities? Usually, they make debt. And what about the athletes? Here's the shocking truth: athletes don't get paid by the IOC to compete. Zero. Some countries award bonuses for medals. For example, Singapore gives $1 million for a gold medal. The US gives $37,500. But these are government programs, not Olympic payments. The real money for athletes comes from endorsements. Think Michael Phelps, Usain Bolt, Simone Biles. Their sponsorship deals are worth tens of millions. But most athletes? They don't see that kind of money. Many struggle financially, even while competing on the world's biggest stage. In fact, studies show that nearly half of Olympic athletes earn less than $25,000 a year from their sport. So while the IOC and sponsors are swimming in cash, many athletes are just trying to cover travel expenses. That's one of the biggest contradictions of the Olympic business model. Now that we've looked at the flow of money, let's get to the result. Who wins, and who loses? Winners. IOC, they run the show, keep the Olympic brand exclusive, and collect billions in revenue. Broadcasters, NBC and others profit from ad sales and subscription boosts. Sponsors, companies like Coca-Cola and Visa gain global exposure and customer loyalty. Star athletes, Bolt, Phelps, Sharapova, Biles, Naomi Osaka, they turn Olympic fame into endorsement empires. Losers. Host cities, most end up with debts, underused stadiums, and disappointed taxpayers. Non-star athletes, they sacrifice years of training but often leave with financial struggles. Local communities, displacement, cost overruns, and sometimes corruption scandals. So the result is clear: the Olympics may be about gold medals for athletes, but for the business side, it's all about green dollar bills. What's the lesson here? The Olympics show us that branding, exclusivity, and global storytelling are powerful business strategies. The IOC sells the world an idea: unity, sportsmanship, human excellence. Then it takes action, monetizing that idea through broadcasting, sponsorships, and hosting rights. The result: billions in revenue, mostly for the IOC and its partners. For entrepreneurs and business minds like you, the takeaway is simple. Build a powerful story. People pay for stories. Control your brand. The IOC protects its rings like a $1 trillion trademark. Create exclusivity. Just like Visa at the Olympics, carve out your own category where nobody else can compete. That's the Real Olympic strategy. And you don't need a gold medal to use it.